under 2 years, I went from knowing literally nothing about sales to closing over $3 million for Charlie Morgan as his top closer. And since then, I have helped tons of business owners to add $50,000 to $100,000 to their monthly recurring revenue, and closers all around the globe to become elite at sales. And in today's video, I am going to break down my entire story and crucially explain to you the core skills that enabled me to master the art of high ticket closing, so you can learn from my journey and start making more money online today. Okay, so my journey into high ticket sales was pretty challenging, to be honest with you. And the main reason why is because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. It was very complicated for me. I knew what I didn't want to do, which was to work 9 to 5, have to wake up early in the morning, jump on the tube, have somebody tell me how my whole day is supposed to go, get stuck in the corporate ladder. I guess what I'm saying is I've always been very hedonistic. I've always focused on wanting to be passionate about what I do, have sovereignty, have control, and I'm sure irrespective of whether you're a business owner or whether you're a high ticket closer that you can relate to that massively. Now the key thing that massively helped me in terms of some of the soft skills is no matter what it is that I have done in life, I have always given my best. I have always been obsessed with ensuring that I am improving. And this actually created more complications than anything, because I had seen a lot of success in other areas of life. For example, I was a straight A student, I played basketball semi-professionally, I was class president at university for 2 years in a row. I mean, genuinely, there is a very, very, very long list of accomplishments. But irrespective of that success, I wasn't successful. That created a lot of cognitive dissonance, because I genuinely believed that I had the potential to achieve something exceptional, to be successful, to have location freedom, time freedom, all of those things, especially if you're just getting into high ticket sales or you're just getting into working an online business, you feel the same way too. But when it comes to hiring a closer, or when it comes to wanting to be the best closer that you can possibly be, that obsession, that relentlessness is absolutely critical. Because if you don't have it when you're going through a tough period of time, which is going to happen, it is going to happen, you will crumble. It's really, really important that you're looking for closers, or that you're aiming as a closer to be relentless and to be resilient. But beyond just learning those soft skills in the early days, it was interesting because now when I look back on the odd jobs that I had done, some of them massively contributed as well towards me being a very, very good closer. I won't go into detail on all of them, but 2 to /3 in particular were, first and foremost, I did end of life care, right? So I was literally responsible for looking after somebody, usually elderly people or very sick people, in the last week, 2 weeks of their life. And that was tough, right? Like, just the job unto itself, some of the things that you had to do was tough. But there were multiple times when I came into work and the person that I'm looking after, you know, as I'm handing over from the other carer, has passed away in the middle of the night, or, you know, like I'm coming in and I'm literally seeing somebody that's died, right? Being able to navigate those situations, being able to turn off the switch was critical and has been critical in sales. It's about managing the highs and managing the lows, but also the emotional intelligence and the ability to demonstrate empathy to others is absolutely crucial if you want to be exceptional at sales. Because if you're dealing with prospects who are fearful, don't want to put money down, being able to navigate that, be able to mirror their emotional state and then lead them in the direction that you want them to go. If you can't do that, you're gonna struggle. Business owners, closers, like, make sure that you're focusing on honing those skills, because those soft skills will help you massively as well. Beyond that, I've done work with refugees, similar thing. The emotional intelligence piece, the empathy piece massively helped me. And then in terms of a discipline piece and the consistency piece, which is also really critical for high ticket sales, and I know this is a little bit weird, it's a little bit of a curveball, but many years ago, I'd made a decision that I just wanted to sort my life out. And I knew that one vehicle that would help me to do that was going to the gym. And so I made a decision that I was going to go to the gym every single day for 90 days so that I could be more disciplined and I could develop more consistency. And at this point in time, like, I was an absolute mess. I was not disciplined. I was not consistent at anything. And what happened as a result of going on this journey was, one, I ended up doing that for 4 years. right? Literally going to the gym every single day without skipping a single day for 4 years. But also too, as a product of getting into very good shape, started posting pictures online and developed a little bit of a personal brand around that side of things and got interested in social media. Now, just before we push ahead, I want to loop back to this, because if you are a business owner, one thing that you really want to look for in your closer is somebody who has a track record of performing well in the past. It could be at school, it could be with sports, it could be with music. It's just this overarching desire to always improve. You need to be hyper competitive to make it in this space. And I will explain in more detail why, but obviously if you're not getting paid a base salary as a closer and you're only able to eat what you kill, if you don't have that constant, incessant drive to improve, again, you're not gonna make it. But obviously I was dissatisfied because the influencer side of things was kind of cool, right? But it was effectively just validation, wasn't really making me any money. The carer, the refugee side of things was really cool. Like, it gave me a lot of satisfaction because I knew that I was helping people, but financially I was a mess, right? Like, wasn't doing very well. Life was not what I wanted it to be. And what ended up happening was, as COVID came around, I got offered a promotion in the refugee job that I was working. And this wasn't insignificant because I was being offered twice the amount of money that I would have been making previously, which was obviously huge. Reason why you probably want to be a business owner, reason why you want to be an elite closer is so you have more money. But I knew if I took that pathway and I kind of locked myself into the corporate bureaucratic world, that would get stuck. Not only did I not take that new job, but I actually just quit in its entirety. And this kind of leans into another key piece that you really want to embody as a closer, that you really want to search for as a business owner, is people who thrive under pressure, people who like pressure. Because obviously, high ticket sales, you have a 1 hour call to be able to close somebody for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. If you don't have the ability to operate and thrive in high pressure situations, you're really going to struggle. And I look back at that period of time knowing that I could have taken that job. Realistically, I could have got paid furlough and not had to do much. And I'm so grateful that I didn't take that pathway, because otherwise I would have been comfortable. And it was the extreme discomfort that I had to face of figuring out what is it that I'm gonna do and how is it that I'm gonna be able to work for myself, because I'd made the decision I need to work for myself, that brought me to where I am today, right? And ultimately, what happened was the influencer side of things was going well. I enjoyed the social media. I'm sure you can see where this is headed. It was like, okay, cool. Content creation, social media management. How do I go about creating an agency? In comes Iman Gadzhi. Obviously, one of the godfathers of this space. I have a lot of respect for Iman. I think Iman is responsible for a lot of us even being here. And I ended up buying his program. It was insightful, and I was able to make progress. I learned about building offers, picking niches, X, Y, and Z. But the honest truth was, with that version of the program that I had access to many, many years ago, I didn't get the level of depth that I needed. It put me on the right path, but it didn't necessarily take me to where I wanted to be. And out of pure luck, out of absolute pure luck, Charlie had just launched his product. And out of pure luck, I was one of the first people that he reached out to. And I was blown away by the outreach that he used. This was before anybody had ever heard of the Terminator Loom system, doing personalized videos, all of this type of stuff. So I jumped onto a call. Charlie, being the ever persuasive man that he is, he convinced me to buy the product, and it was amazing. Like, genuinely, it was mind-blowing. The access to the information, the way that Charlie broke down concepts, the way that he just flashed out ideas, and the way that he thought. I'd not seen something like this. Not even at university had I seen something like this. And so started implementing all of the strategies, ended up booking a disgusting number of appointments for my agency. I had like an 18% appointment booking rate at that time. Again, there wasn't as much saturation with the Terminator Loom system as there can be now. And again, this is when the hedonism part kicked in, because I realized I didn't enjoy what I was doing. I'd picked to work in the real estate niche. I didn't really care that much about real estate. I didn't really care that much about speaking to real estate agents or real estate agencies. And Charlie could see that. Now, what is interesting is I did really love the product. All of the connections that I'd built from the program that I was in with Iman, I started messaging everybody because they were all having problems around appointment booking, and I had obviously cracked the code as a result of jumping into Charlie's product. And in a very short space of time, maybe 4 months or so, I managed to bring Charlie 6, 7 clients. And obviously Charlie was very happy about that. And obviously Charlie, again, could see I wasn't really enjoying the agency side of things. And so he approached me and asked me if I would want to work with him. Now, this unto itself was a difficult decision because obviously the whole reason why I had stepped away from the comfort of the 9 to 5, gone and decided to do my own thing is because I wanted to work for myself. And so in many ways, it could be seen as taking a massive step back, but because I believed in the product, because I believed in the vision that Charlie had, and this is long before Charlie had, even 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and long before anybody knew who he was or Easy Grow was making like $30 million a year. Because I could see where it was going, I wanted to be a part of it. And this is a massive lesson for you as a closer, is do not sell for a product that you do not believe in. It's so important that you're passionate about what it is that you're doing. It's so important that you care about the prospects that you are speaking to, because if you don't, you're not going to have the conviction that you need. You're not going to be able to lean in with the active listening skills that you need to be able to have in order to absolutely crush it and close tons of deals. And as a business owner, it's absolutely imperative that you do your best to constantly create something that is incredible and actually gets people results. Because otherwise, first and foremost, you're not really going to book the number of appointments that you want to because, well, your product doesn't work. You're going to struggle to actually close deals because, again, well, your product doesn't work. And you're not going to hire the top tier talent when it comes to closing, operations, whatever it might be, because the product doesn't work. And so this was one of the biggest lessons that I learned from working with Charlie was product. Always the product is the most important thing. Just before I push ahead, if at any point, in this video, you feel like you would like to get some direct help with sales to take you to the next level and put you in the position where you're absolutely crushing it on calls, then obviously there's a link down below. Feel free to click it and you can book in a call. But with all of that said, let's dive back into the story. This is not a situation where immediately, Charlie sent me this message and he was like, Jack, thanks for sending me over those 7 clients. I want you to be my closer. No, it wasn't that. I really had to prove myself. In fact, it was a massive step back because I went from being my own business owner and making money, enough money for me to be able to, I wouldn't necessarily say live comfortably, but be able to get by and replace the income that I would have made had I taken that 9 to 5 job. But I went from that position of being a business owner to then going all the way down and just being an appointment setter, which was tough. But because of this relentless attitude, because of this obsession, because of this drive to always be the best, because of my need to be hyper competitive, I approached the appointment booking role in the same way that I would approach anything. And I gave my best. And it meant that in the first month, I broke the company record. Now, that sounds a lot less impressive than it actually is because the company was pretty small at that point in time. There were only, I believe, 3 appointment setters, me being included. But the crucial thing is, because I was booking so many appointments, it put Charlie in the position where he could not handle the volume of calls and he needed to hire a sales rep. Again, this is not as simple and straightforward as it may seem. Yes, did I approach Charlie and say, look, I want to close these deals, put me on the calls, put me in the game coach? Of course I did, because I'm hungry. And again, you should be looking for closers like this, closers who are always trying to improve, as I've probably said 3 times in this video already. But I obviously said that to Charlie and he said no, because I didn't have any experience, or I had a little bit of experience but not much. It would make way more sense for him to go about hiring somebody who's been doing the role for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And that is exactly what he did, or should I say that is exactly what he tried to do. And so he brought on a few different people and none of them could close the deal, even though technically they had the skill set, even though technically they had spent a lot of time in the sales space, they weren't able to get the job done. And whilst all of this was going on, I was still cracking on. I was still pushing as hard as I possibly could with the appointment booking side of things, because I knew if he doesn't find somebody, it gives me an opportunity to ask again and be able to get into the game. A little bit of time goes by. Charlie realizes, okay, look, I am struggling to find the person that I need. I approach him and I say, look, just please, brother, coach, put me in the game. Just let me shoot some shots. So finally, he allows me to do so. And this kind of ties into the whole objection handling piece, right? Like being persistent. Somebody tells you no, and you know what you want the outcome to be, and so you don't stop until you get it. But even after Charlie had said, yes, fine, I'll let you close some deals, it was not like I was set in stone. He told me, fine, I will let you take some calls, but probably it's only going to be for 2 weeks because I need to find somebody who has some experience. So I knew that I had to prove a point. I had to prove a point to earn my spot, because the reality of the situation is, compared to people who had a year experience, 2 years experience, had been doing high ticket closing for a long time, I didn't really deserve to have that position, other than the fact that I had to an extent created my own opportunity by booking so many appointments relentlessly. In the lead up to actually taking my first call, I was listening religiously to Charlie's close calls all the day, all the hours of the day, to the point where I literally sounded like Charlie when I was on my first call. I was studying all of the content in the sales module, going elsewhere, YouTube, whatever it might be, so that I could upskill. And crucially, this is something that's important for a business owner, but also something that's important for a closer. 2 things. Crucially, I knew that the product worked. So naturally, I had conviction. Naturally, I was able to convey the emotion that I needed to get the prospect to take action, because I had seen results for myself. And so one of the best places that you can actually hire from as a business owner, especially if you have an info product, is your own product itself. Because the people who will be coming on board as closers, they will know that you're able to deliver. They will know the product inside out. The second thing is that it's very, very important that if you're a closer, you're asking for the business owner to give you support, give you access to their line of questioning, their pitch, all of their previous closed calls, because in doing so and in listening to those closed calls, subconsciously it primed my brain to think any call that I get on is always going to close, because all I'd ever heard was calls that were going to close. So the day comes around, I'm taking my first call. Not going to lie to you, I was incredibly nervous. But I had one objective and one objective alone, and that was just to close one deal. Because I knew from a long time ago, from past experiences, things that I'd done in the past, that if I could prove to myself that I could do it once, that I could do it 100 times. And so I jumped onto that first call, tons of energy, tons of passion, tons of conviction. 1, because obviously I wanted to secure my spot, but 2, because I actually wanted to help the person, because I could relate to them to a lot, because I'd been an agency owner, right? Closed the first deal. And after that deal closed, I literally, not on the call, but after the call ended, I literally did a war cry, right? Because I knew that I could do it again and again and again. Later on in that day, took 4 calls that day, closed 2 deals. And bear in mind, not nobody, but all of the other closers who had jumped onto the offer had really struggled to close deals. And so Charlie was impressed. And I had got a little bit more of a foothold in the company. Again, it's not just that I was handed this opportunity, I had to earn it. At the end of that day, Charlie gave me praise and he said, Jack, well done, fantastic, really happy to see you closing deals, whatever it might be. But I'm still going to be looking for another closer. And I told Charlie, again, it's the hunger side of things, the hyper competitive side of things. Because if I'm being completely honest, it pissed me off. It actually pissed me off, because I was like, how dare you tell me that I can't accomplish these things? Why would you ever think that somebody can do this better than I can do it? And obviously, logically, it makes sense why he would think that. But it's the hyper competitive nature that wouldn't let me let that go. And so at the end of that day, I told him, I was like, that's fair, that's fantastic, I'm fine with that, but I just want to let you know, by the end of this month, I'm going to make you $100,000. Now, obviously, this is very ballsy for me to say, because at this point in time, I'd never made $100,000 in business, let alone made $100,000 in the space of a month, but I locked in. And this comes back to the whole understand your why, understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and be unrelenting and just be as resilient as possible, as obsessive as possible until you make it happen. That is what you are looking for as a business owner, somebody who just will not quit, who will not take no for an answer in life as a whole. Because if they're not willing to take no for an answer in life, they're probably going to be a lot better at not taking no for an answer on a call. Now, obviously, this is a little bit more nuanced. Sometimes you should actually take no for an answer if it's not the right thing to sell somebody, but you get my point. And I'm doing training with Charlie. Business owners, make sure that you're training twice a week, bare minimum, for an hour each time with your new closers. Doing training with Charlie, continuing to listen to Charlie's closed calls, my own calls that have closed and not closed, reviewing them, trying to make progress. End of the month rolls around, there's the 100K. And at that point in time, after all of that, then I had established my spot. Now, the rest of this journey, being able to go from just being a closer to being a sales lead to being a sales manager and now being a sales consultant / business owner, is just a repeat of the same. It's the hunger, it's the drive, it's seeking out opportunities. More of the same. Charlie tried to hire other closers to come and do the sales role a lot of the time, and I would estimate that 65% of people that got hired either got fired or quit, because they didn't have the mindset piece in place. People are getting hired, people are getting fired, all of this type of stuff. I'm continuously working. I'm continuously making improvement. And so as the team starts to flesh itself out a little bit, obviously, full transparency, I have had a little bit of a head start, right? But I have capitalized on it too. And so when these new guys are coming up, Charlie's now in the process of developing out Easy Grow, really just wants to focus on the product, as I've already explained, because he understands that the product is the most important thing. And it opens up a door again for me to be able to do sales management, because I can see that he just wants to focus on actually working on the product. So I approach him and I say to him, hey Charlie, I know that you just want to crack on with the product. I agree with that. I think that's the best thing to do. Do you trust me to lead the team and to start training them? Again, you're looking for opportunities. Sales is just problem solving. Same as business, it's just problem solving. And when you see there's a problem, you provide a solution to be able to get the outcome that you want, right? Exactly what happened in this situation. And so I'm leading the team. At this point in time, I'm investing heavily into courses, into programs, other areas, so I can widen my knowledge base, so I can improve. Team starts performing, we're doing great, making, I don't know, at this point in time, probably 300-400K, maybe a little bit more on a monthly basis. Easy Grow drops, massive influx of clients, another opportunity. I realized that clients need help with the sales calls. Charlie is now managing a team of appointment setters, operations, we've got the closers as well, we've got back-end system. There's so many different moving parts right now that I realized realistically Charlie probably doesn't want to do the sales coaching. So I approach him again, ask, can I have this opportunity? Now, the crucial thing with all of this, because I'm really simplifying it a lot for the sake of saving time, is all of these opportunities came about because I had proved my worth to the business. Another example, at the end of that first month, right? At the end of that first day when I told him I was going to make him 100K, Charlie laughed at me, right? Fair enough. Yes, pretty ballsy. At the end of that first month, when I said that I was going to make that 100K, I told him I was going to make him $1 million by the end of the year. And I did. And the point that I'm making is that I kept my word. When I said that I was going to do something, I did it. You need to be that type of person as a closer, and you need to find that type of person as a business owner if you really want to excel. And so it's not just like these opportunities were handed in my lap. I sought out the opportunities. I always kept my eye open for how can I improve, because of the hunger, because of the hyper competitive nature that I have. But also I had earned them because I put in the work. And there is no two ways about it. If you want to be successful in this space, you have to sacrifice and you have to work hard. Now, I'm going to kind of just breeze through the next part of this story, but I spent a long time coaching clients, right? There were around 2,000 business owners in Easy Grow, and I was doing the sales coaching for all of them because I still had this long-term view of wanting to go back and be my own business owner. But I was happy working with Easy Grow because I knew that I was changing people's lives, like genuinely, actually changing people's lives. And it fed into that hedonistic side of me. That's the reason why I enjoyed the caring. That's the reason why I enjoyed the refugee work, is because I got to help people in a meaningful way, and I wasn't just doing something to make money. It had purpose. And at that point in time, when I was working for Charlie and Bo, I knew I would never, ever work for somebody ever again, because there was nowhere else to go. Why the fuck would I go and work for somebody else after working for such an incredible company? But in being able to do the sales management, in being able to close so many calls, in being able to do the sales coaching for thousands of businesses, it rapidly accelerated the learning curve for me, right? Like, it really cut it down. I was able to absorb so much information. I was getting hours upon hours upon hours of consultancy experience. And it got to a point for me, and it was a very, very tough decision to make, but it got to a point for me where it just didn't make sense to stay at the company, and I wanted to do my own thing. I made that transition from working at EasyGrow to now obviously working for myself. And I'm not gonna lie, man, like, the comparison between being a closer and being a business owner there's a big gap. But it's helped me even more so because now I understand the journey of a closer very clearly. I understand the journey of a business owner from a systems theoretical standpoint, from having worked with so many people, but I also can understand it from being a business owner as well. And that's been so useful now, being a business owner for myself, helping businesses to hire closers, place them properly, and have the right systems in place so they can get to their goals. It is the reason why people like Josh Dweck have been able to go from 12K to 100K per month in the space of 5 months. It's the reason why people like Josiah have been able to go from 30K to 60K per month in the space of 30 days. It's the reason why I've been able to take people like Ollie and people like Jamie from being closers and not really making that much money as closers to them making multi six figures and then becoming sales managers or being able to start their own businesses teaching people about sales in the space of like 6 or 7 months, because I understand this whole process, right? But just to summarize, because I know I'm getting super amped up and very energetic about all of this. If I had to give you one piece of advice as a business owner and one piece of advice as a closer that is going to make it as easy as possible for you to be exceptional at sales, it would be that you sell or you hire somebody to sell someone who truly believes in what they are doing. Yes, you can learn the scripts. Yes, you can learn the soft skills. Yes, you can learn the frameworks. And I'm not gonna lie, they will massively help. If you have a bad process in place, you're making life a lot harder than you need to. But if you genuinely believe in what you are doing, and if you genuinely believe that you have the ability to change people's lives as a result of them just having a conversation with you for 1 hour, and you see the opportunity to be able to make that happen, I promise you, you will fight tooth and nail every single time to make that a reality. And so, long story short, as a closer, if you can just find an offer that aligns with your value, and as a business owner, if you can just find a closer that aligns with your company vision, you will massively increase the likelihood that you will excel, because it is that belief unto itself which moves people, which convinces people to take action and buy. And so, to summarize this entire video and the title of the video itself, the way I was able to close $3 million in deal for Charlie Morgan and be his top closer is because I truly believed in what it is that I was doing. And on every call, that conviction was palpable. Okay, so that is my entire story explaining how I went from knowing literally nothing about sales to closing millions of dollars in deals and helping hundreds of people to do the same. Now, if you are a business owner trying to crack 7 figures a year and want to get into the position where you can close deals like clockwork, or you are a closer who is trying to break 6 figures or even multi 6 figures on an annual basis, there is a link in the description. Feel free to click it to book a call and have a conversation with me directly. Now, just a heads up, don't stress. This is going to be a low pressure conversation just to even figure out if the stars align and whether we're a good fit to work with each other or not. And if we are, I will explain to you exactly how it is that I will help you get to your goals sales wise. But with all of that said, feel free to grab a slot. Thank you very much for your time, and I will see you just